I'm back again with the Go Video GV8020. If you haven't watched my first video about this VCR, I suggest you stop and go watch that video now. But to put it briefly, Go Video was famous for making dual-deck VHS VCRs, but this is a rare model which is instead a combination of VHS and 8mm videotape. So it can not only play and record normal VHS tape, but also Video 8 and Hi 8 tape. Or at least it would if it wasn't broken. Mechanically it seems to be fine, it's not eating the tape or anything, but the video output is very messed up, most likely due to bad capacitors on the circuit board. That's a common problem with electronics from the late 1980s to mid-1990s, which use surface mount electrolytic capacitors, which are prone to leaking and corroding the circuitry. And I've discussed it before in videos about a Macintosh Classic computer and a digital compact cassette deck, both of which needed to have those capacitors replaced before they would function correctly. And the same was true of this VCR, which had two circuit boards with those capacitors on it, one of which I showed in my first video about it, and another one which I discovered when I was disassembling it because it was hidden underneath the 8mm tape mechanism. If you have the proper equipment and skill, you can replace those capacitors yourself, but I don't. I'm sure I could learn, but I didn't want to practice on something as rare as this VCR. And unfortunately, it's not the 1990s anymore, when virtually every city had a TV and VCR repair shop which you could just bring this to and have them fix it for you at a reasonable price. Unfortunately, these days, electronic service technicians are few and far between, and not all of them are even willing to work on equipment this old due to the complexity and the difficulty of finding parts and the chance that whatever repair they do may not be able to get back into working order. So in my case, I ended up shipping those circuit boards all the way from here in New Jersey to a fellow in Vancouver, BC, Canada, with the understanding that replacing those capacitors is not guaranteed to get it working again. And in the interest of full disclosure, I'll say right away that it ended up costing me, including international shipping both ways, right around $200 US to get that work done. But I will say that his workmanship is absolutely excellent. If it wasn't for the fact that those electrolytic capacitors have been replaced by tantalum capacitors, you would not be able to tell that this is not the way this circuit board came from the factory. And he did say he had to patch a few circuit traces due to corrosion damage from the electrolyte that had leaked out of those original capacitors, but I can't find any obvious signs of that. There are no bodge wires or anything, so I guess it must have been a pretty small repair, but still critically important if you want it to actually work. On this smaller circuit board, there are several of these metal shielding cans. I wrote on it no caps on this side because I looked underneath it with a magnifying glass and a flashlight, and I did not see any of those capacitors on this side. But on this side, there definitely were some of those capacitors, and maybe if I can get just the right angle, you can see the new ones he installed. So now I'll reinstall these circuit boards, which did require removing this mechanism, which did require prying away the front panel and disconnecting a few ribbon cables, but it wasn't too difficult. And actually, removing the faceplate reveals some features that this model does not have, including the ability to record on the 8mm mechanism. This one is playback only. There's a switch to turn on or off the automatic level control, a headphone jack with the level control, a microphone jack, and that's pretty much it. So those are all the extra features this model doesn't have. But I don't think Go Video ever made a model with these features. So I know Samsung made this for Go Video, so maybe there was a Samsung model with these features, but Go Video did not have them. And there I got it all back together without any screws left over. You may have noticed that there are still a few of the original surface mount electrolytic capacitors on this little circuit board here, but I'm not worried about it because all this board does is decode MTS stereo TV sound, which is irrelevant now that analog TV is no longer on the air. Well, the VHS mechanism was working, but it was working to begin with, so at least I didn't make it any worse.
Things that surround us on a daily basis, we don't notice. I mean, we don't notice our health until we lose it. We don't notice freedom until we lose it. We don't notice our remote control. Well, that's a total disaster there.
And I'm happy to report that the repair was successful, and 8mm videotape playback now works perfectly on it. So I'm very happy about that.
Your viewfinder swivels to make it easy to get down low without having to put your face into the ground. Some models even feature a second button to start and stop recording when shooting from a low angle. Imagine what this can do in combination with the macro capability of your Handycam. Macro lets you fill the frame with very small objects such as a shell, or a photograph, or a flower.
If your model has a manual focus macro, press the green button on the zoom lever to get into the macro setting. Then adjust the zoom lever to bring the object into sharp focus. Remember that when you get in very close, the focus is critical. Also, remember to make sure that you hold your camcorder very steady, as even small moves are amplified up close.
Unfortunately, its so-called quasi-high 8 playback is not as impressive. It doesn't really look any better than what you get by trying to play a high 8 tape on a regular Video 8 player that does not support high 8. And although it was mentioned on the back page of the manual, this doesn't say anything about quasi-high 8 playback, nor do any of the ads or articles about the GV8020 mention anything about it having quasi-high 8 playback. So I don't know if that was a feature they planned but never really implemented, or if it's not working correctly on this unit. I don't know.
Hi. Today, I got a little haircut. It's a little change, but I like it. It makes me feel cool. You want to see my hair? I'll show you what my hair used to be. There it is. That's my hair. Chopped it all off today. And I feel great. Dave's out.
Nonetheless, because this Go Video GV8020 is such a rare piece of equipment, I really wanted to see it fully working again, and thanks in large part to Mark in Vancouver, it now is. Now I can finally try the copy tape button, which was the main selling point of this VCR, its ability to copy your 8mm videotapes to VHS. I don't know if pre-recorded 8mm videotapes have Macrovision encoding, but I guess I'll find out. And now it's dubbing from 8mm to VHS. It's doing an Americhrome copy, whatever that means.
Strikes you. There's magic in the real thing. You never know wherever you go, you might find magic in a Coca-Cola classic. Can't beat the real thing. There's magic in the real thing.
For an SLP speed VHS dub of a standard Video 8 tape, I don't think that looks too bad. Not as good as the real thing, but pretty close.
I've sat through some home videos that seem to go on forever. What's a good length for a video?
Actually, Bob, 5 to 10 minutes is really about the maximum. After that, you're in danger of boring your audience.
Always leave them wanting more, huh?
Exactly.